Hello, Pastor Fero here. The Reconciling in Christ Task Force has been asked to share a moment where we felt welcome and what was special about that moment. And the moment that I share with you is a heart-wrenching moment, actually. And I'll try my hardest to keep it succinct. It was actually at a funeral. It was a funeral of a beloved friend in the community, the LGBTQ community, someone whom we had all gotten to know so well. I think the group mostly that knew this person was a PFLAG group, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, in Mechanicsburg that I had first joined in the early 2000s. And this particular person we knew their story, and we had walked many miles with them in the journey, and he had died unexpectedly. Also involved in that group were various people from the community in Harrisburg, and the funeral was at a church in Harrisburg, St. Michael's, that is an RIC church, actually. And so there were many beloved people gathered that day, and it was the first time that I wore a collar in front of my PFLAG friends. I was in seminary, and it was a moment. It was a moment where, when I settled into the pew with the PFLAG group, it was a moment where I had total peace. It was a moment where I felt I was really sitting with my family. Just prior to that, just weeks, I don't know the time frame, I would say just a couple weeks prior to that, I had experienced my own mother's funeral up in New York, and it was a different situation. Of course it was different because it was my mother, it was family, and everything that goes along with that, but there was more tension at that funeral back home. There was more tension because I had to choose. I had to pick and choose what battles to fight. I had to pick and choose who to introduce Jeff to and how to introduce Jeff. I remember one particular distant relative who said the music was playing before the funeral started, and I was taking Jeff around to various people and introducing him for the first time to people as my husband. And the distant relative said, "He's what?" I mean, it was a very loud reaction. And many people, a couple pews ahead, just turned around and looked in surprise at the reaction. I felt like I had to explain over and over and over again who I was. And I had to defend who I was in that particular place. When I met with my loved ones in another space, when I met with my loved ones at St. Michael Church, they had already taken the time to understand who I was. And that was so important to me. I felt at home.
Hello, I'm Peg Sampson. I think I felt most welcomed when I first started coming to St. Matthew for the social events, like bingo and the potlucks we had then. From there, as I got to know people, I became a member of the choir while still in the choir at Grandview Methodist. Eventually, I started looking at a dual membership. I would sing the early service at one church and the later service at the other. When we came up to Easter season, I learned and felt that I really could not do justice to either choir or either church by trying to do both. I decided to transfer to St. Matthew. Why? Because I found a family here. That was the welcome I had felt. I still feel that way, and I try to welcome others the way I was welcomed.